Hey, this is Toby. Today I will show you how to make a simple graphical panel in mql5 so you can just display some information of your EA, for example the inputs or calculated values, and we will also create a button here that will change the background color of the chart. Okay, let's go. So first of all, before we start coding, I just want to say you can create such a panel, of course, for any expert advisor you want, but in this video I will use the time range breakout EA to demonstrate how I would create a graphical panel in mql5. So if you want to know how to code this expert advisor, I will link it up here. So it's a little coding series we did on this channel, and it's a profitable breakout expert advisor. So before we switch to Meta Editor, I just want to say this video topic was requested by a user in the comments. So if you have a topic you would like to see on the channel, just write a comment, and yeah, let's take a look at the panel. So it's a very simple panel. We can minimize it here and also maximize it again. We just see some inputs of the current expert advisor, and we also see some calculated values. So in our case, these are the range times, and we also have a button here, and this changes the color of the chart background. But of course, you can also add additional information and also, for example, make this button to close all positions of the expert advisor. So this video is just a general approach how I would code a panel for an expert advisor, and there are also many different ways to do this. This is just how I would do it. And just a quick note, this video will be a little bit more advanced. So we will use a class to create this panel. So if you are just new to mql5, you may consider to do some more basic expert advisors, for example, but I will try to keep it as simple as possible so you can just follow my steps. Okay, so here we are in the meta editor, and as I said, I will use the time range breakout EA to demonstrate how to create a panel. So let's just open the file we created in the time range breakout coding series here, and let's just save it as a new expert advisor. So save as, and we can maybe rename it to time range EA panel, and let's just save it. Okay, now let's compile first of all. So this is our time range breakout EA basically, and now we will add a panel to this expert advisor. And as I already said in the beginning, we will write the panel in a new class. So we will write a include file for the panel. So it's very easy to use this panel for any other expert advisor. Okay, so let's just create a new include file. So we just go to the include folder here, right click and click on new file. Here we can just select the include option, click next, and let's name the include file graphical panel, for example. And let's click on finish. And this is where we will create our panel. Okay, so let's just start with the inputs here. I will clean this up a little bit. I will keep one comment section here so we can use that and rename it to inputs. Now the first two inputs will be for our panel size. So of type integer, input panel, and we predefine this input, for example, with 260 pixels. We also write a comment here. Okay, now let's copy this and rename this. Also predefine this 230. Of course, this also depends on the screen size, but let's just go with these numbers for now. And now maybe we also want an input for the font size of the text and also for the font color or the text color. So here also static input, integer input panel, font size. So this will be default maybe 13, and we change the comment here. And the last input here, static input of type color, input panel, text color. And let's predefine this to color white smoke, for example. And also change the comment. Text color. Okay, so that's it for our panel inputs, and let's compile and see if we have any errors or warnings. So this looks fine. Okay, maybe what we also want to add is, like we also did here in the expert advisor, a simple divider here. So I just copy and paste this here, and let's just rename this to panel inputs. Okay, so now before we create the actual class, we need to include a file. So we just create another section here, include, and here we need the file located in the controls folder and called dialog.mqh. Let's compile. Yes, and now we can use the code from inside this file. So now we create another comment section where we will write the actual class. So just write class, C, graphical panel. This will be the name of our class. So we can just write class here, the name of the class. And now we want to inherit from this class inside this dialog file here. So we can use all the functions from this class. So we just write public, and the class is called C app dialog. Okay, now we can open the body here of the class, close it again, semicolon, and let's compile, and we should not have any errors or warnings. Okay, so now let's create some methods here inside our class. So first of all, we will create a private section here. The code or the members and methods here inside the private section can only be accessed from inside the class. So here we will write just a comment, private methods, and we will write a method called create panel with no parameters. Now we will also create a public section. If you don't understand this part here right now, just follow my steps and you should be fine. So here every class needs a constructor, and we also write a deconstructor. So let's just write void, and the constructor is always called once you create a object of the class and has the same name as the class name. So here with no parameters, and also the deconstructor is called when you destroy the object of the class, and it has a little tilde sign here in front of the name. Okay, now we also want a initialization function. So also of type void. Let's call it onInit with no parameters here. And now also a function for the chart events. So we just, maybe we write a comment here, chart event handler. So also of type void, let's call it panel chart event. And this method here has some input parameters. So first of all, a constant int ID. Next, a constant long L parameter, so of type long, and also as a reference here, constant double the param, and also constant string s and param. Okay, so now we have all the methods we need to create a basic panel here. Now we can also write the body of these functions here inside the class, but what I like to do is to write them here after the class. Okay, let's compile. Okay, so let's write the code of these methods here. So we will do this here after the class. And first of all, we need to specify that the method belongs to our class. So we do this if we just write the name of the class and here the double dots basically, and then the name of the method. So this is the constructor here, and the body, we don't have any code inside this body, so we just leave it empty. We also do this for the deconstructor here. So here we also write this tilde sign in front of it like this. So now we should be able to compile. Maybe we also write a comment here. Constructor. And here deconstructor. Okay, now let's create the body of this onInit function here. So we just write void C graphical panel onInit and the body. And this onInit will later be called from our expert advisor onInit function here to create the actual panel. So here we just write a comment, create panel, and we will call our create panel function here, or method of this class. So this dot create panel, and if this call here fails, then we want to return false. So in order to be able to return false, we should change this here to Boolean, and also here onInit Boolean, and also the create panel function Boolean. So Boolean create panel, Boolean onInit, and also here Boolean onInit. And here in the end we just return true. So now we should be able to compile without any error or warnings. Okay, so now we can already start to code our create panel function here. So down here we just write Boolean C graphical panel and create panel. In the end of this function we want to return true, of course. And here the first line we can just write a comment, create dialog panel, and this is where we just call the create function of this base class here, CAppDialog. So we can just write this dot create, and for the inputs, of course, null, because we want to create the panel on the current chart. The name, this will be displayed on the top of the panel, so we can just write time range EA, for example. The sub window is 0, x0, y0, and now for the x2 constant here, we use our input width, and for the y we use our input height. Okay, so this will create the panel, and now what we need to do is to run the panel. So we just write a simple if statement here. If run fails, we want to print a message for the user, failed to run panel, and we want to return false. Okay, now we should be able to compile, and maybe also what we want to do is to refresh the chart. So we just call the chart refresh redraw function like this. Okay, compile again. And now we should be able to create a very simple panel. Now all we have to do is to call the init function here from inside our expert advisor. Okay, so now here inside the expert advisor file, we just need to include our include file. So we go up to the include section here and we just write include and now the file name. So graphical panel .mqh. Okay, so now let's compile. And now we go to the global variable section here under ctrade. Under the ctrade object, we just create another object from our class now. So c graphical panel, and let's just call this object panel. Okay, let's compile again. And now we can use this object here to create a panel. So we go into the onInit function here. Maybe after draw objects, we write another comment, create panel. And now we can just write panel dot on init. So this, let's compile. This will call the onInit function here. And in the onInit function, we create a panel. So this will call the create panel function. And here we create the panel. So let's see if this already works. If we can see a panel on the chart. So if we go now to our MetaTrader platform, to our expert advisor, time range EA panel. And if we just drag and drop it on the chart, click OK, we can already see a panel here in the top left corner. Now, of course, we cannot drag or minimize or maximize the panel because we need to pass the chart events to our panel. So that's the next step we want to do. But we already can see a simple panel here with our expert advisor. Okay, so let's do this. So let's switch to meta editor and let's go to the expert advisor file here. And let's just copy one of these comment sections. And we go down after the onTick function and we paste a new comment here. And let's call this section chart event handler. So here we just write void on chart event. So this is the default on chart event function from MetaQuotes. This has the same parameters as our panel chart event function here. So we can just copy these here and paste them. And let's open up the body. So inside here, we just want to call our panel chart event function from our class. So we use the object panel.panel chart event, and we pass all these parameters here for our method. So the first one is ID, and then here the long parameter, the double parameter, and the string parameter. Just like this. Okay, now we should be able to compile. Now we can see we need to write the body for our panel chart event function. So that's the next step we will do. Okay, so let's just write the body of this function here. So we switch back to our C graphical panel include file here. And after the create panel method, we just write void C graphical panel and now our panel chart event function. Okay, let's open up the body, and here we just write a comment, call chart event method of base class. And here we just need to write chart event. And again, we need to pass all these parameters here. So ID, lparam, the param, and our string parameter. Just like this. Okay, let's compile. And if we want to compile, first of all, we can compile here the include file, but then we have to switch back to the expert advisor file and again click on compile. And now we can switch back to MetaTrader here, open a new chart. Now if I drag and drop our expert advisor on the chart, click OK, we can see again the panel, but now we can drag the panel, we can minimize the panel, and we can also close the expert advisor. Now we can see here in the top right corner, the expert advisor is active, but we can close the expert advisor here from this panel. And now one last step we want to do here in this video is to write the destroy function. So after we created the panel here in the onInit function of our expert advisor file here, we also want to destroy the panel again here in our onDinit function right here. So we just write destroy panel, and we just write panel dot destroy, and we specify the reason. So now let's compile. Okay, so now our panel is created here in the onInit function of the expert advisor and destroyed here in the onDinit function. So let's take a look here what we changed here in the actual expert advisor file. So we included here the graphical panel file, and then we created here this global object of the panel class. Here we called the onInit function, and here we destroyed the panel in the onDinit function. And down here we just pass all the chart events to the panel chart event function. And now let's take a look here in the actual panel include file. So here we have our include of this dialog class here, our inputs, the actual class here with the private and the public section, and down here the bodies of our methods. So the constructor, the deconstructor, our onInit function or method, the create panel method where we create the actual panel, and also the panel chart event where we just pass all the parameters here to the base class method. So in the next part, of course, we will add some labels here to the panel, and also we will create a button. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe to my channel. If this video was helpful for you, it would be nice if you just leave a like. And if you are interested in more mql5 coding stuff, I have already created a playlist. I will link it up here, where we created some other expert advisors for MetaTrader 5. So if you have any questions about coding or in general about automated trading, you can always write me through my website and via Telegram. And if you are interested in a specific topic, you can just write a comment, and I will see you in one of the next videos. Bye.